Hello there. My name's Heather. I'm 23, and 2 years ago I married the love of my life. Everything seemed to be going so well. Even though my husband is French, we didn't experience many issues other than the obvious language barrier. And as a true testament to our love, I decided to start learning French so that I could better communicate with him and his family. That's how much I loved him. I was doing this secretly. Frederic and Avril, my husband and mother-in-law respectively, had no idea that I was learning French. Not only was I learning French, but my diligence and discipline allowed me to be relatively fluent. I knew now that if I was dropped in the middle of France, I would be able to survive at least. You might be thinking, well, if you're so good at French, why doesn't your husband know? And you'd be right in asking that. Well, the reason is that I was a bit shy, if I'm being honest. It can be nerve-wracking approaching someone and trying to speak their native tongue, especially if you're constantly with them. But I decided that enough was enough. I had to start speaking French with both my husband and my mother-in-law. After all, the whole purpose of my doing this was to facilitate better communication, right? Well, it's a good thing that I didn't start speaking French so soon with them because I found out some very interesting information one day that led to a series of unfortunate events. Hello, Mama. How are you, my son? Thank you for inviting me over this lovely Sunday afternoon. It was our pleasure, Mom. Hello, Mama. Hello, my daughter. How are you? Thank you so much for including me. Oh, hush. You know you're always wanted and welcome here. I brought some croissant and, how do you Americans say, bagels? Yes, bagels and croissant for our afternoon tea. Oh, how lovely. Thank you so much. Come and sit, Mama. The food will be ready soon. Did she prepare the food? No, I did most of the prepping. Don't worry. Oh, thank God. Hearing this, I was wondering what she meant by that, but I was obviously too shy to speak up about it. How strange and peculiar. Avril always seemed to like my cooking. Why was she saying those things? At the time, I chalked it up to her just wanting to eat food prepared by her son that day. Maybe she wanted to taste food that she could reminisce on. Eventually, I heard her say, I hate her cooking. Why did you invite me for this thing instead of taking me to a cafe so we can avoid her? Mom, we agreed to speak in English so that Heather doesn't feel left out, remember? Oh, forgive me, my sweet daughter. I was just saying that the food looks so good. I was surprised to learn that it was my son who made the food. Oh, I wish it was you who made it. I love your cooking. At this point, I was getting confused. How could she say those awful things in French and then lie to my face in English? I thought that I must have been mistranslating, but I had a plan to reaffirm what I was thinking. Oh, please don't worry. You should never feel ashamed to speak your native tongue. Please go right ahead. I'll be fine. I wanted to catch what she was saying by recording her on the Google Translate app, just to make sure that I knew what she was saying, because at this point, I was thinking that I was wrongly translating what she was saying. We all sat at the table getting ready to eat, and what would come next shook me to the core. I want us to discuss about our plan. The time is approaching. It's literally tomorrow, Frederic. You have to be serious. The app, in addition to my French knowledge, confirmed that there was some plan going on. But what? Mama, not now. I said I would handle it. What are you going to tell her? Heather, darling, please pass me the sugar. She doesn't know anything about the plan. I was just going to tell her that I would be out of town. Out of town? What for? What was going on? I was so confused. Since I was constantly looking down at my phone to see what the app was translating, I think they assumed that I wasn't paying attention, and they took this as a way for them to be less discreet with their true feelings, which was good for me as I was learning everybody's true colors. She's not too smart. Look at her, glued to her phone. We can talk about this now. Okay, Mama, fine. What do you want to discuss? The plane is leaving at 3 p.m. Are you sure you'll be able to escape her then? Plane? Escape me? What for? I was so confused, but I continued to remain strong and not expose that I could hear what they were saying so that I could plan my next course of action accordingly. Yes, Mama, I know. I will do the needful. I know how important this is. It is extremely important. If your great-uncle doesn't see us tomorrow, he will give the house to someone else, like your cousin or your aunt. We can't have that. No one needs to know about this house. Oh, Mama, you're so funny. Don't worry, I just said that in English so she doesn't suspect what we're talking about. Who? Heather? Yes. Oh, sorry, my love. I was just asking who made this delicious tea. It's splendid. Oh, that would be your talented son, I'm afraid. I'm not as good as he is when it comes to these things. Oh, darling, your food is amazing. Amazingly terrible. Mom, she will catch you. She can't catch me. She's too stupid to understand us. I don't know, Mom. She obviously understands some basics, I think. Let's see. Heather, how much French do you know? At this moment, I knew I had to lie and said I didn't know anything, just so that they would continue exposing themselves and I could continue to see their true colors. How I managed to keep my composure while being insulted still baffles me to this day. I guess my body knew that it was much more important to handle this situation instead of getting emotional at that present moment. I said, "Oh, I'm still very bad at French. I obviously know the typical things like bonjour and comment tu appelles, but that's it." "Oh, that simply won't do, darling. You should learn some more French." "Yes, ma'am, I will." "Well, it's a good thing for Frederick and me, as we can be gossiping about you. I'm just, how do you say, kidding. With you, mon chéri, we would never do that to you." "Aren't we doing it right now?" "Yes, which is what makes this extra funny." They laughed. Google Translate and I continued to do our jobs. And sure enough, as I was recording the conversation, I was also checking out other apps, websites, and forums to see if what was being said by them was indeed correct. I got about 90% confirmation from these different resources to reaffirm what I had originally thought. So now that I understood that they clearly didn't like me, since they were blatantly making fun of me, I had to continue to gather as much information as possible. As if their insults weren't cutting away at me slowly, the next thing I heard shattered my resolve. As I was saying, this house is extremely important. No one can know about this house, okay? We need to be the only ones knowing because then we can make a lot of money. We can't lose this opportunity. I'm so glad that we're doing this, and it's a good thing we didn't tell my wife about this because I don't want to share the spoils. Me neither. Everything needs to go smoothly. Your great-uncle Pierre said that whoever contacts him first about this issue will inherit the mansion. So we need to go there physically before anyone else, and we can begin working on remodeling and improving the house. I can't wait to have a house in California. This is where I will be going to escape my wife and my life here in Florida. Sometimes I can't stand her. You know, you're still young, way too young to be married to someone like her anyways. Come and live with me in California. You can enjoy yourself and your youth with women and booze. You can have a good time, and then when you're ready to settle down, you can do so. Let's leave this place. Honestly, Mama, I think you're right. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was feeling myself tear up. Excuse me. Mon coeur, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Yes, I just need to get something from the kitchen. I couldn't hear any more than they said, at least that moment. I needed to collect myself to not make a scene. But how could they say those awful things, with me right there in the room with them? Did they have no shame? I was so upset, I began pacing up and down the kitchen. And then suddenly I thought of something when I saw my mother-in-law's purse sitting on the kitchen counter. I decided to look inside to take her phone. Luckily, it was unlocked. I opened her WhatsApp and decided to send Uncle Pierre's number to my number. I then quickly deleted the text from her phone so that it looked like nothing happened. Honestly, it was like I was acting on instinct. I didn't even know why I did, but I'm glad I did it because I was now conjuring a plan to hurt these people the same way they did to me. I returned to the dining room where the festivities were being held, and sure enough, they still seemed to be talking about this situation. So, tomorrow we leave for the vacation. I think it's well deserved, actually, because of all the hard work we've been doing. I second that. We deserve this break. Is everything okay? Yes, honey, we were just talking about the weather and how it's a perfect day to go relax somewhere. Would you like us to do that? Maybe not today, Freddie. Oh, okay. When would you like to go then? Maybe tomorrow. Both Avril and Frederick froze slightly in their seats, a movement I was actively looking out for to see their reaction. Had I not known their plans, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. I don't think tomorrow would be possible. I asked Freddie to help me with some things around the house. Oh, what things? Why is she asking so many questions? Just to move things around. I can help also if you like. That won't be necessary, mon chéri. See how nosy she is being? I don't like it one bit. You see why you have to leave this place? Don't worry, Mama. I've got this handled. I still managed to maintain a smile despite knowing what they were saying. I relied on the delayed gratification that was about to come to satiate my desire for revenge. I was still recording the conversations they were having, right until the very end, just so that I could review it and really squeeze out as many details as possible. As I mentioned before, my French was getting really good, but I still wanted to make sure that I got the right information. That night, I snuck away from the bedroom to go to the office to do some further investigating. I replayed the audio, and sure enough, my doubts about my accuracy were dispelled. What I could glean from this whole ordeal is that there is a vacation tomorrow to go and claim a house from Great Uncle Pierre, and that these people apparently hate my guts, and they're even planning on leaving me. A bonus piece of information I got was when I went to the kitchen to pace, I had left my phone, which was still recording, in the room with my husband and mother-in-law, and I managed to pick up some more useful information. The conversation consisted of Avril asking Frederick about his computer password, as she wanted to modify some aspects of the flight they were going to be on. I managed to get a password and flight details. I must have hit the jackpot. I logged into Fred's computer, and sure enough, there were flight details on the website he booked the tickets. Feeling very sneaky and devious, I may or may not have changed the details of the flight, such as pushing their flight to the day after tomorrow. This was just phase one of my plans. There was a lot more to come after this. Since I had sent myself Great Uncle Pierre's number, I was ready to do what I needed to do. Hello? Hello, Uncle Pierre, it's Heather. Oh, hello, darling. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Well, no, not really. I went into great detail explaining the events that had transpired that day. I even sent him the audio recording of what happened as proof, because without it, I doubt he would have believed me. We cut the call so that he could listen to the voice recordings, and we reconvened soon after he had finished listening to everything. Wow! I don't even know what to say. How could Avril do this, and Frederick? They were all such sweet and innocent people when they were younger. How could they do this to you, to me? I know. It's a lot to take in. It was shocking to me too. You have indeed improved your French. Well done. Thanks, Pierre. But now that we know this, what do we do? Well, obviously they're not going to get the house. That's a fact. After hearing all of this, there is no way that I would bestow such a lavish and honorable gift to people who are planning on decimating the place with their evilness and foolishness. Okay, I get you. It's your house and you have every right to do what you please with it. Yes, surely I do. From now onwards, I will be ignoring their calls. Let's see how they'd feel about that. Thanks once again for bringing this to my attention. You are a good and kind-hearted person, Heather. Please don't let the ugliness of this world change that. Thank you for your time and willingness to hear me out. Hearing what you heard today couldn't have been easy. I applaud you for your stoicism and strength. Please take care of yourself, Uncle Pierre. You too, love. Good night. And with that, I knew that I secured both Avril and Frederick's demise, and now that the dominoes were all set in place, I just had to wait for the right moment to tip the first one and watch the rest fall into place. When I got back to the bedroom, Frederic was still fast asleep. It pained me to know that my husband, who I loved very dearly, would treat me this way. I didn't know he felt all those feelings, and perhaps if we talked about these things, we could have found a compromise solution. But alas, he decided to go through the evil route. I got his phone and removed his alarm. Without it, he would surely sleep forever, and that's precisely what he did. I packed my belongings and decided to go to a hotel for the night. I could no longer stay in the house with someone like that. The next day, absolute chaos ensued. I am sure that Fred woke up to 100 missed calls from his mother, and he must have frantically been moving up and down trying to pack, because he stupidly hadn't packed the day before, and get to the airport. I suspect all of this because I received a call from him at 2 p.m. Where the hell are you? Why didn't my alarm go off? And why aren't you here? Oh, I decided to take a little vacation day for myself. Oh, that's nice. A little heads up would have been appreciated, though. Yeah, likewise, Freddie. What? What do you mean? Anyways, that doesn't matter. I'm running late for my flight. I mean, my meeting with Mom. Why are you in such a hurry? I'm sure she wouldn't mind you being a little bit late. You don't understand. Anyways, it's fine. I won't be home tonight and tomorrow night. I've got a lot I need to do. See you later. Before I could even respond, he hung up the phone. I'm pretty sure he was so overwhelmed that he didn't even check the proper details of his ticket, which I had changed to the next day. Through the Find My iPhone app, I saw that he made his way to the airport. Imagine waking up, rushing out of the house with only minutes to spare to make it to your flight, just to find out that it had been cancelled. I'm sure he was moving like a madman up and down that airport. Suddenly, I received a call from Avril. Hell, you! What have you done? What do you mean, Avril? Drop the act. I know that you tampered with our flight. If by tampered you mean change the date, then yes, that's exactly what I did. Why would you do that? I was trying to help you guys out. Didn't you say that you wanted Freddie's help with moving some stuff around? I noticed that you had the flight foolishly booked for today, the day that Fred was meant to help you, so I decided to change some things. You're welcome. Frederic, come and talk to your wife before I reach through the phone and kill her. Listen here, Heather. I don't know what you've done, but whatever it is, I want you to stop it right now. Uncle Pierre still isn't answering his phone. Try again. He isn't answering his phone because he doesn't want to speak with you two. You can understand us? Every last word. But how? I've been practicing. I told you, Mama, I told you she might be able to hear us. So that means yesterday you heard everything? Yep. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to divorce your good-for-nothing son and leave you two to your own devices. Have a blessed day. Oh, and by the way, the next time you want to talk about someone with them being right there in the room, make sure they don't understand what you're saying. Have a nice life. I hung up before I could even let them speak. I was done with their antics. Later on in the day, I got a call from Uncle Pierre. Hello, dear. How are you? I'm a bit distraught. I just had an ugly fight with Fred and Avril, and now I'm getting a divorce from him. I'm so sorry that this is the way that things turned out, Heather. It's part of life, I guess. How are things on your end? Well, I finally picked up their cause and I gave them a piece of my mind, and they are not happy. What did you say to them? I told Fred that he's an idiot for treating you the way he did, and told Avril that she's evil for roping her son into her schemes, and I also told them that I've given you the house. You what? Yes, dear, the mansion is yours. Even if you get a divorce from Freddie, it's all yours, and you can share it with whomever you please. I simply can't, Pierre. It's too much. I wanted this house to go to someone kind and compassionate, but also tough and strong when you need to be. And that's exactly who you are. A house is the least I could do after all the stress and turmoil those two idiots put you through. The house is yours. Take it. And with that, folks, not only did I manage to distance myself from two toxic people who didn't have my best interests at heart, but I also got a multi-million-dollar mansion in the process. Seeing me get the house that they always wanted, made Avril and Frederic foam at the mouth. I received constant death threats from them daily, but all I would do is respond with a picture of different parts of the house, all as reminders that this was all mine and not theirs. Revenge never felt so luxurious.